Welcome to the Brian Craig Show podcast. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. The Brian Craig Show is brought to you by Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing. If you're in the state of Florida and you need roof repair or replacement, Tom Laporta will help you online at laportaroofing.com. And remember, Tom Laporta will never sell you a roof you do not need.
I wanted to ask you real quick, did you see the new cover of Time?
I did, yeah.
It is amazing how Trump has come full circle. I have never seen anything like this. Here you have a picture of Trump. It's an incredible illustration, and it's him breezing into the office like a wind blew him in, like a very strong wind. His tie is blowing, and you see him pushing aside all of Biden's things, including his sunglasses, which is like really...
His aviator Ray-Bans.
His aviator Ray-Bans and an old phone.
Is there a bag of cocaine?
No, but there's papers, which I think probably were never there. And then a drink of some kind. I don't know if Biden was famous for drinking something, but, you know, Trump's famous for drinking Diet Coke. And this was like some drink that's spilling all over the place. And then it just says he's back. And they even have the gold-colored curtains that Trump will probably put back in there. I don't know if they're there now, but that is an amazing cover. And it just blows my mind how things on all aspects, even on Saturday Night Live, which I did not watch, but I saw the clip, they were making fun of MSNBC and Rachel Maddow. They even alluded that she looks like a man. I mean, I just can't believe how things have turned around. It really is kind of scary how, I mean, I'm glad people are waking up, but it also shows you the power of persuasion and the power of the crowd. And when so many people are supporting Trump, it's like everybody wants to get on board now.
Well, Saturday Night Live making fun of MSNBC, I know it may not sound like a big deal, but it is because Saturday Night Live is NBC.
Exactly.
So
I mean, that's huge.
For them to make fun of...
I just wanted to bring that up before you got into the topic.
To make fun of someone's being gay and the way they look on their own air is very unusual.
I mean, do you think...
And liberal.
And that was a huge segment. They had somebody playing Rachel Maddow, and she was very good and looked like her. And then the camera, and they had Chris Hayes, and the camera kept confusing her with Chris Hayes. And it was really... And then she even called Chris Hayes Rachel.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a long segment, and it showed how they are obsessed with Trump and how they don't tell you the news. All they do is tell you what Trump's doing, no matter how ridiculous it is. That's the skit. You know, I don't think he's ridiculous, but it's all these crazy things. But if you could see that clip, it's interesting.
You know, I watched
it.
I haven't watched Saturday Night Live in years. When there's something in the news about it, I'll see it online. I watched the Rachel Maddow segment.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was that funny. There was one or two lines that were, you know, maybe make you chuckle.
No, I don't think it was that funny, but it was interesting.
Yeah, but it's just not. They just don't have talent. They just don't. Liberals can't be funny. They were making fun of other liberals, but it still wasn't funny. I thought for a while Saturday Night Live wasn't funny anymore because they wouldn't make fun of liberals. I watched them make fun of liberals. It's still not funny. They have no talent anymore on the left. Now, there's a lot to cover. You know, of course, tomorrow our 4-year national nightmare ends. Biden and Kamala are out and Trump's back. And, you know, my first thought, you know, you talk about the Oval Office with this, you know, cover, was that I hope that he redecorates it exactly like he had it before as kind of like a, you know, FU to them. I mean, because I heard Melania was asked in an interview she did with Hannity's homewrecker, the one he's engaged to now. And what's her name? Ainsley Earhart, the Sunday school teacher that lives in sin. She, it's very bizarre, but she interviewed Melania a week or so ago, and she asked her about decorating the White House, and Melania said she was going to pretty much do it the same. But I hope Donald Trump actually decorates the Oval Office completely different than the last time, so that in historical photographs and everything, you have two unique first term, the 4-year break, and then back for the second term, so that when you see the picture, you'll know which term that, even if it's a still picture,
I agree.
You'll know which term it was in, even if you're 100 years from now.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's the least of his things he's got to worry about.
Right.
But I'm hoping he
Melania's in
decorates it
charge of
differently.
that.
Not the
First
Oval
lady.
Office. The Oval
I
Office.
thought the first lady decided that too.
She decorates everything but the first office. The presidents usually pick the carpet. Like, I remember when Obama became president, he made it look like it was the president of Saudi Arabia's office. It was decorated like it was in the desert. He had like this tan sand color carpet and everything. Obama. It looked like a Middle Eastern. Yeah, it looked like.
I would like to see Trump bring in MAGA red curtains.
Oh, yeah, that'd be nice.
And be heavy on the red and blue, red, white, and blue.
Yeah.
I know he likes gold, so I have a feeling there'll be prominence of gold.
It'll probably look the same as last time.
Yeah, I think the gold curtains will be there, and gold looks nice with blue because they go well together. But I would like to see more red, but you don't really see a lot of red. I guess it doesn't read well on TV or something.
No, there's some tradition.
It's kind of harsh
Trump's
on television. Yeah.
Now, yesterday I tried to catch the Trump motorcade going to Air Force One, and what happened. When Trump moves, you don't know what time. They don't tell you what time for security reasons, and that's just the way it is. Plus, they're moving hundreds of people when the president moves, so it's it's. So you never know exactly what time. So
and things can change.
And so sometimes when Trump is moving here in Palm Beach, it's hard to go and wait for the motorcade because it could be anywhere in a 10 to 12 hour window. And maybe some people can stand out there for 12 hours. I can't. So yesterday though, we got, they had Air Force One gassed up at the Palm Beach airport. We knew he was going. So I got on the MAGA scooter, my Vespa, to go to the airport to catch the motorcade. And the reason I took the MAGA scooter and not my car is because when you're going to see President Trump move, parking can become difficult with the security and everything. There's always limited parking. And by the airport, there's really limited parking. But with with my Vespa, I can park anywhere, right? I can park it on the sidewalk if I want. And we saw Air Force One. It was gassed up. They had the stairs there, and I left. And you were watching it at home on the live feed, and I said, if Trump gets on it, call me. So I'm on my way there, and before I got there, he was on the plane. So I missed the motorcade. But the Air Force One that he flew, and I understand. I got all these comments from people yesterday. I know it's not technically Air Force One until he's the sitting president, and then any plane he's on is Air Force. I don't need the education. Okay, I know this. Okay. But Air Force One has a fleet of several aircraft, okay? There's the big Air Force One, there's two of those, the big one. The one we saw yesterday, I'm not sure how many of those there are, but there's more than one. It's the smaller version, it's the one, there's no such thing as Air Force Two, by the way. That's just a catchphrase that we all use. The smaller plane is the one that the vice presidents and the first ladies and the second ladies and stuff kind of use. But the smaller version that we saw yesterday is the one that the presidents usually use for short trips. Like if they're going from D.C. to Philly or D.C. to New York City, they take the small one for whatever reason. But every president-elect flies to – now, President Trump went to Virginia, and then he stayed in Blair House last night across the street from the White House. But it is a tradition – that the sitting president, sends the big Air Force One for the president-elect. And their first flight in Trump's case, it's back, but their first flight to Washington by the president-elect, whoever they are, is on the big Air Force One. And you guys can go back and look, okay? Look at Obama.
Well, yeah, and they let him fly it when he left.
No. Biden sent the small Air Force One.
No, when he left the office.
Well, he was still president then when he came back. But when President Trump went to D.C. when he was president-elect the first time, he went on the big Air Force One, not the little tiny one. And Biden sent the little tiny one because Biden's a tiny little bitter man, and he didn't want him to have the big plane yet. He was saying, that's still my plane. You can't fly on my plane yet. It really shows you the pettiness of Biden, doesn't it? I mean, he is just a pathetic, petty man. But afternoon tomorrow, after the inauguration, and President Trump escorts him to Marine One, and Biden flies away. The last time we're really going to see Biden, they'll probably carry. he might fly on the small one to Delaware because it's close to D.C., not the big one. But he might fly on the big one. We'll see.
Knowing him, he'll want to take the big one.
It's up to Trump. So Trump might give him the big one to be nice. But anyway, the last time we really see Biden will be when he gets off the plane in Delaware. Usually the former presidents, whoever they are, they fly back home. You see them, and then that's it. They're out of sight, out of mind.
I never see him again or his wife.
I don't care to see either of these two people.
Yeah.
Kamala Harris, the last time we'll probably see her is when J.D. Vance and his wife put her and her creepo husband on the helicopter to fly. And now I've heard some conflicting things, okay? I've heard some people say that Kamala has a house in Virginia with her weirdo husband. And she may have gotten it when she was in the Senate, but she was in the Senate for like 5 minutes. So I'm not sure if she's going to go to Virginia or if she's going to go to California because they have a house in Brentwood. I'm assuming they got a place in San Francisco too, but maybe they don't anymore. Who knows? But I will be very glad not to hear from either of these two ever again. And Kamala has been running around the last few weeks drunk as hell, talking about how she's not going anywhere. Have you seen this? I'll still be around. I'm not going anywhere. She's completely just lost her mind. So, all right. So let's talk about this TikTok stuff because everyone's talking about it. And I found something out this morning that I did not know. I don't use TikTok. I'm not on TikTok. I don't have the app on my phone.
But I do.
You do. And everyone knows TikTok is spyware. TikTok is probably it's probably the most sophisticated algorithm of any application that the public has access to. And it's more than just spyware. TikTok the thing about this is how it works, okay? There's a few things about TikTok I just want to cover because I know everyone's talking about it and everything else. And I know a lot of you know what I'm about to say, but I don't think most people do, okay? So a lot of people, because I've heard people say this in the last few days, well, I don't care if it's spyware. I don't have it on my phone. Here's how it works, okay? The spyware it's CCP, right? It is military CIA quality spyware. It may even be better than what the United States has, to tell you the truth. As we go through this, I think you'll see why. And this is what it does.
Or it may not.
This is what it does, Kathy. Because I know a lot of people, well, I don't have it, so they got nothing on me. The way TikTok works, the spyware is so sophisticated that when it's on someone's phone and that phone connects to Wi-Fi, it takes everything off every device connected to that Wi-Fi
How do you
network.
know this?
I've seen experts talking about it in the last few months. So
I don't know. This could be another Cold War
maybe
thing.
No, I think it's pretty.
Of a
it could be
boogeyman that doesn't exist.
Maybe it is, but this is what all the experts have been saying.
And that might be why they don't want people getting hold of the algorithm because they might find out that there's nothing there.
Maybe, but I don't know. But this is what the experts are saying. So as an example, Kathy, has it, but say your grandkid or your kid has it, right? Or somebody you work with has it. And they have it on their phone at work, and their phone's connected to Wi-Fi. And you use the Wi-Fi, they're in your phone.
Well, it's amazing to me because this is why I don't agree with the ban. And it just came out that Trump is lifted the ban, and TikTok is already coming back. Like, I can access my account now. I couldn't do that this morning. I can't access the feed or the For Your page, but I can access my page and upload videos. So it should be full running by tonight. And I like TikTok. I don't think it's the boogeyman that the experts, I think that they want you to think it is. I mean, I could be wrong, but I just don't think it is. But here's the problem. They keep targeting this one app. And I know I've said things against TikTok in the past, and there are negatives to it, but there's negatives to everything. So, but they want to ban this, but they'll let the Chinese buy farmland. They'll let the Chinese fly drones, fly balloons. You know what I mean? Nobody stops that. So you have to ask yourself, why this? I feel like there's other things going on that the government is motivated to get rid of this. I think at first it was useful to them and something changed. And now it's not useful to them anymore. And I think a lot of it has to do with that it's helping conservatives. It's helping spread MAGA. It's helping spread the MAGA movement. And I tell you, if Trump saves TikTok permanently, he will win over an entire generation, and he knows this, of young people. There's 170 million. That's more than half the country.
Well,
is on TikTok.
The thing about TikTok,
making money, it is a huge part of the economy.
Here's the thing though about TikTok. Okay, a lot of what you said's right, and so far as the spyware, we're never going to know the truth of that. But here's the thing we know is true,
unless we get access to it.
This is what we know is true. Okay, TikTok. I've used TikTok in the past. I used it a few years ago. Okay, and I used YouTube primarily, and YouTube algorithm. Like I watched a vlogger who went to North Korea officially, and he made these videos. I watched this video that he gave, tour of Pyongyang, and then all of a sudden YouTube's recommended me nonstop behind the scenes videos in North Korea, right? And you guys know how that algorithm works on YouTube. The TikTok algorithm is much more advanced. When you watch something on TikTok, it is so sophisticated, it knows exactly what to serve up to you on the platform to keep you on it. And a couple of things have happened with TikTok that got the government to ban it, okay? And this is what happened. We've talked about this many times on this program.
Yeah.
TikTok is is probably the most powerful propaganda tool ever created. I give you an example. There's many examples. I'm going to give you two, but the first one is a big one. All this transgender stuff that's going on, which has just turned the world upside down, right? And it's done a lot of damage in this country. It was all started on TikTok. When the CCP put TikTok out there, they got young people addicted to TikTok because younger people, all they care about are how many followers they have, and how many clicks and reads, whatever it is on that particular platform, right? Shares. TikTok gave people that didn't even have a social media presence. They'd started TikTok. Next thing they knew, they had 1 million followers on TikTok. So they used that to keep them in there, the drug to keep them in there. And it recommends things to you or what they wanted to do. And they started this trend, the Chinese, on TikTok of the transgender stuff. And they made it a thing. And then all of a sudden, all the sex change operations happened. We got the swimmers, we got the boxers. All that happened because of TikTok. Now, what happened last year, I'm positive. I am positive. What happened last year was miraculous with TikTok. All of a sudden, TikTok went MAGA. And I'm not exactly sure what happened that caused that, but it went MAGA. And the reason that they banned it and want to keep it banned isn't because of the spyware or any of this stuff. TikTok, if you made a list of the top 10 people and incidents and things that are responsible for Trump's reelection, on that top 10 list is TikTok. The youth vote, Charlie Kirk did great. No getting around it, okay? I'm not taking it away from Charlie Kirk. But TikTok with young people made MAGA super cool and made Trump super cool. And TikTok played a big role in Trump getting reelected. And this move against TikTok by the Biden regime and the establishment and the media is because they understand the power of it. They know that it got Trump elected.
They don't want Trump to have his hands on it.
That's right. They want it gone.
Have the influence. And what I worry about is
gone.
Yeah, that's what I believe. This is political. And what I worry about is which social media platform is next. Because the left is it's like the sinking ship. It's like the Titanic. And the media, the legacy media is like the Titanic. And it's because of X and TikTok. And now people post a lot of pro-Trump news and information and clips and things. And another big part of it is Barron has a huge fan base on TikTok now, and Kai Trump. The young Trumps are growing up, the grandkids, and getting a social media presence.
And Uncle Barron.
Barron's not on social media. I think he has an X account, but I don't think he uses it.
But he's still all over TikTok.
But
he's popular
all over
there.
TikTok with the girls. I mean, he's a handsome kid, and they love him, and they post all kinds of things about him. But there's this shift and they don't like the influence it's having now because it's not working to their favor.
Correct.
And I still think Jeff Bezos is trying to get Trump to ban it, but he's not going to ban it because Trump understands it helped him win. He understands the impact on the economy. And so many young people make a living off TikTok. I really feel bad for them. I mean, they make good money.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's become a huge source of income for a lot of Americans. And, so I like to see young people entrepreneurial and making good money. I'm talking really good money. So I like to see that. That's good for the economy and free speech. So anyway, Trump has invited the CEO of TikTok to his inauguration. That's huge. So that means, that they're friends. And the CEO just tweeted that TikTok is back thanks to President Trump. They're working together. And, Trump is a businessman and Biden's an incompetent boob. So I really feel Trump will find a solution where everybody's happy with TikTok. I think they will put some restrictions on the platform if they need to. And what they can do is, if there is something in the algorithm or something where if there really is spyware, they can block it or do something where they can say, all right, you can stay on, but this part of your algorithm has to go away. They can do that. They can make restrictions on the platform to help that situation and still keep the platform. I don't think China is going to sell this because, it is connected to the Chinese government, that's for sure. And it's extremely lucrative for them and they need money. And it does help with the propaganda. But as far as spyware, all that, I'm starting to think that that's not really true. And that's just something maybe they initially put out there to make themselves look tougher. I don't know. I mean, you go on Instagram and I mean, I could have a conversation with Brian and 5 minutes later, an ad pops up on my Instagram feed about what we were talking about. So anything you have on your phone, we have Alexas in our home. Any device you have, your phone, your Alexas, home video cameras, anything you have is susceptible and vulnerable to being hacked or tapped into. That's just the way it is. I mean, if you want to not live that way, you have to live off the grid is what they call it. And nobody does that hardly anymore. So, your phone is a homing device. People can track you, find you. I mean, your phone is a form of spyware. And I understand it's not in the hands of China, but there are other apps that are. There's other apps owned by China,
like I
not
tell
just
you,
TikTok.
like on my phone, I keep my location on. If you guys remember a couple years ago, some guys tried to rob me on the side of the road, and I didn't know where I was because I was in kind of in a strange spot. And I keep my location on so that you always know where I am if something like that happens.
We share our location, yeah.
Oh, now listen, this is really cool. Okay, I've been talking about the My Pillow, My Cross. Okay, which the My Pillow, My Cross. It's the same cross that Mike Lindell wears. He's in Washington right now. I saw him there yesterday.
I saw him on right side. Yeah,
and they have a version for men and women. Okay, and the cross is $75 off with our promo code Kane, Kane, on our own private MyPillow site. Okay, if you go to the regular MyPillow, like MyPillow.com, it's just $50 off. We have our own MyPillow site.
They go there.
That I don't give out very often. And on our own MyPillow site, it's $75 off. It's MyPillow.com/Kane, Kane. MyPillow.com/Kane, Kane. I'll put the link in the description of this episode, okay? But MyPillow.com/Kane, Kane, and promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. And I want to remind you, it's $75 off of each. They're sold separately, not as a set, the male and the female version. So it's $75 off of each one. So if you buy both of them, right, it's $150 off. And it's free shipping with our promo code Kane, Kane. So if you go to the regular MyPillow.com website and use our promo code Kane, it's only $50 off. But if you go to our personal MyPillow site, MyPillow.com/Kane, Kane, you get an extra $25, right, for $75 off with our promo code Kane, Kane, at checkout and free shipping. Pretty good deal, huh? All right, we're going to take our first break. There's so much to cover. And we've just begun. My name's Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll be right back.
Get ready for an enchanting journey with your children in the new book from author Julie Orman, The Adventures of Mina and Chloe, #1, The World of Avalon, available on Amazon. When Mina receives a magical bracelet for her 8th birthday, her life is changed forever. When the bracelet glows, Mina and her doll Chloe are transported to the magical land of Avalon. Then something unexpected happens. Chloe shapeshifts into human form. Together they must face an evil sorceress and save the land. The Adventures of Mina and Chloe, #1, The World of Avalon, is filled with stunning illustrations and a story that's full of heart. This delightful children's adventure is perfect for young readers. It's a story of courage, friendship, and the magic of believing in yourself. Order your copy right now on Amazon. The Adventures of Mina and Chloe, #1, The World of Avalon.
This is Dr. Philip Appleton. I'm a chiropractic physician. I've seen thousands and thousands of patients in my career. I've been a chiropractic physician here in Pompano Beach for 40 years. We're open 6 days a week. If you have sciatica, you have bursitis, you have tendonitis, you're tired of taking the pills, the drugs, the injections, and you heard that you have to live with it, well, there's a lot of times you don't have to live with it. I've had great success with helping people. My testimonials are marvelous with patients. They love the treatment because no injections, there's no medication, there's no surgery, there's none of that. It's strictly either the laser or the acupuncture I do or shockwave therapy I do. Open 6 days a week. Come in for the free consultation and be willing to look at you and help you.
Take advantage of that no-charge consultation with Dr. Appleton. Remember, appointments are not necessary and walk-ins are welcome even on Saturdays. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonChiro.com. If you're looking for unbeatable deals, there's only one place you need to shop, and that's HotDealsDirects.com. HotDealsDirects.com is your one-stop shop for everything you need, from automotive essentials to adorable baby products, beauty must-haves, and cutting-edge electronics. HotDealsDirects.com have it all. Fashion, fitness gear, home goods, pet supplies, camping equipment, gaming gadgets, books, and that's just the beginning of the incredible inventory at HotDealsDirects.com. With thousands of items at red-hot low prices, there's something for everyone. Whether you're upgrading your tech, pampering your pets, or gearing up for your next vacation, HotDealsDirects.com has the deals you can't resist. Are you ready to save big? Visit HotDealsDirects.com right now and discover your next favorite find. Because who says you can't shop smart and still splurge? HotDealsDirects.com.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. So Mike Johnson did this insane interview about Biden's condition, and we're going to find out that Biden is been far more far gone than we've realized, and this is an example of it. And I know a lot of people will say, "Oh, so what? He's leaving." I've been telling you guys this, okay? If other people have been giving orders to the military and they've ordered military strikes and people have died, they've committed murder. There's a lot of treason, a lot of crime. There's murder. Literal, I'm not exaggerating. Murder has been taking place, okay? If he's as far gone as Mike Johnson's describing. These are severe crimes. You know, I was watching yesterday MSNBC, and they're doing this on CNN too. They can continue to say that they're on CNN. It was Acosta was talking about this, and they're talking about this on MSNBC. And you hear Biden talking about this. They're the defenders of democracy, which means if Democrats win, democracy is strong. If Democrats lose, there's no democracy.
Exactly.
There's no democracy. I get it. We're a constitutional republic. Sometimes you don't have to split hairs on everything. You know what I mean? For every, the country, if it's not being run by Biden, our country has been lost the last 4 years, and there's been criminals running the country. And this is very, very serious. So I want to play this. This is Mike Johnson in this interview that really should be the main story next to Trump, of course, his return. Listen.
I do stand by it, and I say this without any personal animus at all. I mean, in some ways, I actually kind of feel sorry for Joe Biden. I mean, he's in the twilight years of his life. He is not, obviously, has not been in charge for some time. And I know this by personal observation, and now the whole world knows it. And it's been very, very concerning to me over the last, year and a half since I've had this position.
Can you tell us a story when you say personal observation? What kind of thing did you see?
It's public now because the Wall Street Journal got it and put it on the front page. But January a year ago, almost exactly a year ago, I had been asked, I became speaker in October 2023, and there were all sorts of big national security concerns and everything going on, and I started requesting a meeting with the president because, I'm kind of old school. I'm a constitutional law guy. The Speaker of the House should be able to talk to the president, especially in times of great national interest and calamity. But they wouldn't let me meet with him, and his staff kept giving me excuses. This went on for like 8 or 9 weeks. I'm sorry, Mr. Speaker, he doesn't have time. What are you talking about? I'm second in line of the presidency. He has time. I need to talk to him. We had, I can't say the classified parts, but we had some big national concerns at the time that I was losing sleep over. Finally, I just went to the Hill press corps and I said, the president is not being allowed to meet with the speaker. There's a problem. So they started putting pressure on him. Long story short, they finally relented. They invited me to the White House. I show up and I realize it's actually an ambush because it's not just me and the president. It's also Kamala Harris, Chuck Schumer, Hakeem, the CIA director, everybody. And then, so I walked in the Oval and, I know what this is. They're going to hotbox the speaker on Ukraine funding. That's what it was. This is probably third week of January. We sit down, we're in the midst of it, and the whole conversation, and I'm going, we don't need to have this conversation. The president reaches over just like this. We're sitting right next to the fireplace in the Oval, and he grabs my arm and he says, the speaker and I just need a couple minutes together. Would y'all just leave us alone? And I looked up on the faces of some of the staff standing around the wall, and they're like, oh, no, he did it. So he called it. He's the commander-in-chief. So everybody leaves, and he and I are standing awkwardly in the middle of the Oval Office right over the rug by that coffee table. And I said, Mr. President, thanks for the moments. This is very important. I got some big national security things I need to talk to you about that I've heard, and I think and what do we do? But first, real quickly, Mr. President, can I ask you a question? I cannot answer this from my constituents in Louisiana. Sir, why did you pause LNG exports to Europe? I don't understand, liquefied natural gas is in great demand by our allies. Why would you do that? Because you understand, we just talked about Ukraine. You understand you're fueling Vladimir Putin's war machine because they got to get their gas from him, And he looks at me stunned with this, and he said, I didn't do that. And I said, Mr. President, yes, you did. It was an executive order 3 weeks ago. And he goes, no, I didn't do that. And he's arguing with me. I said, Mr. President, respectfully, could I go out here and ask your secretary to print it out? We'll read it together. You definitely did that. And he goes, oh, you talk about natural gas. Yes, sir. He said, no, you misunderstand. He said, what I did is I signed this thing we're gonna conduct a study on the effects of LNG. I said, no, you're not, sir. You paused it. I know. I have the export terminals in my state. I talked to those people this morning. This is doing massive damage to our economy, national security. It occurred to me, Barry, he was not lying to me. He genuinely did not know what he had signed. And I walked out of that meeting with fear and loathing because I thought, we're in serious trouble. Who is running the country? I don't know who put the paper in front of him, but he didn't know.
Yeah. Okay. So that's pretty scary.
And what's going on here, I think, is like an old bait and switch. They told Biden he's signing one thing, but he's really was signing something else.
That's right.
And he probably didn't bother to read it
because he
or
trusted
check
them.
it. He trusted them, and they told him, well, this is what we're doing. This is why he's deluded, because they've kept him deluded. They have kept him in this bubble where he thinks he's a big hero and he's doing all these wonderful things. But you really have radicalized people in the White House, and he named a few, that are pushing their radical agenda for their own purposes. When you don't have somebody leading, you don't have that rudder to the boat, it's the boat's going to blow all over the place with the wind. So you have one person coming in with their agenda, another person coming in with a different agenda. There's nobody reining things in and being like,
but
this
Kathy,
is not happening.
What Johnson said, natural gas isn't the most. It's a big thing, though, because now these countries are buying it from Russia, which we have this proxy war going on, and you're funding Putin's war machine.
Exactly.
So somebody profited from that.
Exactly. That's what I mean. They all have their own agenda.
Somebody did that
right
because it was money in their bank account. When I say profited from it, it wasn't just something they wanted to do. they did something to help someone
And how many people in the White House
financially, and they got paid.
that had Biden's ear, had access to him, were having him sign things that maybe others didn't even know about.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? He could have been signing an executive order or any document that the person X brought to him at a certain point when nobody else was around. And,
That's right.
And other people didn't know about it. That's why things are so chaotic, and that's why Biden thinks he's such a hero and such a great man, because he really, I don't think, knows what's really happening sometimes.
Now, I want to thank our Patreon supporters for their support. And if you'd like to become a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the episode description. And Patreon supporters have access to commercial-free editions of all of our podcast episodes, all of them, okay? Even going way back. Not just the new ones, but the archive ones as well on the Patreon page. And our top Patreon supporters get a live on-air thank you shout-out on every episode. So the names you'll hear now are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, Rick, Nick, Dale, Wesley, Macho, Mike P, Carlos, Paulette, John, Heather, David, Maria in Texas, Richard, Alice, K-Mac, LeeZep, Shawna, Constance, George, Brandon, Rob and Trish Wilkerson, Christy R, and John S. These are our top Patreon supporters. Thank you so much. Thinking about this, okay? I think most people believe that the inauguration has been moved indoors because of security concerns, not the weather. And of course, there's a Trump rally today, and I thought it was a little strange to have the rally on the eve of the inauguration. So I'm wondering if this was if having the inauguration indoors was the plan for a long time, and this rally was set up by Trump because he knew this was coming.
Yes, I think you're right. That makes sense to me.
So that the people had something to go to for that.
That makes sense.
And you guys can let us know in the comments what you think about it. I've been watching on Right Side Broadcasting their weekend coverage on everything up there, and I know it's winter. I mean, I got to tell you guys, we're in Florida. I'm not exaggerating. I am wearing shorts and a t-shirt right now. Okay, and it's
it's 80 degrees.
It's 80 degrees, and it's a little chilly for us at 80 degrees, but.
Anything below 80, it's chilly. Considered chilly.
Yeah. So, we're right on the cusp because we're like at 80 right now. I'm not kidding. We had the back door open a little while ago, Yeah. So, we're blessed to live in paradise in Florida. But I understand it's wintertime up there. I don't even have clothing for that, okay? But it doesn't look like a blizzard. And I know in the temperatures.
No, in fact, it was like 30, 40 degrees today.
Yeah. And I remember clearly when Reagan had his second inauguration that was indoors. It was January 85, and I was in 8th grade. And the reason I remember it is because my 8th grade English teacher, Mrs. Moss, played the inauguration live for us in class that day. And they had and I remember this like it was yesterday. It wasn't just cold. They had a blizzard in D.C., and all the bands for the parade were there. So
there's no snow now.
So the parade was canceled. So what happened was they had the inauguration inside the arena in D.C., and all the bands that were going to march in it were in the audience. They were the audience. So so they got to experience it. And I'm looking at the weather. I understand if Florida, where we're at right now, had the temperatures they have in D.C. right now, Florida would be shut down. It would be DeSantis would declare a state of emergency. We'd be shut down. But we're not Florida. It doesn't seem that bad. In fact, I saw Don Lemon on X was making fun of Trump, jerk, because it's not that cold. It was colder in 85, he said, when Reagan had his inauguration. It's not about the weather. It's a security concern. And the arena is indoors. So they have tighter security because it's enclosed as opposed to him being outside.
I think everybody is relieved and everybody was concerned about Trump's safety.
It's all about that.
And
I think. You agree?
Yeah, and I think that's a good move. There's one thing I don't understand and I'm not happy about is Snoop Dogg. I don't know who allowed him to perform. He's performing tonight or last night, one of the inaugural balls. Maybe it was last night. I don't know. But I don't know why this guy who made a music video simulating Trump's assassination not that long ago is all of a sudden being brought into the Trump world. and it really pisses me off. I don't like it. I don't think he should have any place at the table.
That video was bad.
It's a perfect example of somebody who, is he's obviously out for his own career. And now that the wind is blowing in Trump's direction, he wants to be a part of that. He has no conviction of his own. But anybody, because Trump was, they did try to kill him twice, maybe and more. And you can't tell me a music video like that didn't have some kind of influence or put some idea in somebody's head. Why the hell is this guy even around?
It's like having Kathy Griffin there, tell you the truth, doing stand-up.
I don't get it.
I don't know.
I don't get it. And he took a picture with Bo Loudon, who's like Barron's best friend.
I didn't like it.
And put it on X, and I responded, and I said, this guy should not be there, and you should not be taking pictures with him.
If you go back and watch that video, it was the equivalent to what Kathy Griffin did.
Oh, I don't understand who
it's insane.
Brought him in or why. He is not pro-American. He's
insane.
Not pro-Trump. He did a video simulating Trump being shot in the head while Trump was dressed as a clown.
And had a morgue or something
in
it,
sickening.
too. It was crazy.
And I don't understand that at all. And it's aggravating me that I don't think he's going to be at any of the balls, obviously, tomorrow night. Those are very fancy. But I think he was at the one last night, the Hispanic one, or we'll see if he's there tonight. Now, they're going to have Carrie Underwood and a few other performers at the inauguration. So where are they going to perform now? Because there's no outdoor event.
I don't know. If
are they going to perform tonight at the Charlie Kirk thing?
I don't know. Some of the performers you're hearing about were not for the inauguration. Some of them were for the balls.
Well, she was.
Some of them were actually going to play.
Inauguration.
Some were going to play at the inauguration. I think Carrie Underwood was. But
so what's happening with that?
We don't know.
Now,
it hasn't been announced. It has not been announced. We don't know.
Well, tonight they have things start tonight. Now, he was in Virginia last night, and we watched it on YouTube, and it was on C-SPAN, I think. He went to his Virginia club, and they had fireworks, and you could see that on YouTube. Was awesome. He came out with Melania and the family over the balcony, and they had fireworks over the golf course. They had some event there. And then today, they're doing the rally tonight, which if you go to Right Side this afternoon, that starts at 5 o'clock Eastern time, and that'll be something special to see. It's a victory rally. I'm assuming a lot of people will be there that are part of his cabinet. And then tomorrow, things start early. They have they go to church. They do all this traditional stuff, right? They go to church, then they have like a tea, and then he gets sworn in, and then they go to the White House. We watched a thing on YouTube. It was so interesting yesterday, and if you guys want to see it, you can Google it. And it shows how they transform everything in the White House in 6 hours. They have 6 hours to transform the Oval Office and
the whole residence.
The whole residence. So if Melania, the White House is 6 stories. There's 2 basements, 2 levels of basement, and then you have 3 stories of the house, and then they consider the attic one of the floors, and the residence is on the top 2 floors. And the top floor is where the family lives, and below it is where guests live and things like that.
The windows outside are misleading, those big windows.
Yeah, if Melania wanted to paint the inside of the residence and change all of the decor and the flooring and everything, they have to do it. There have been a few requests they did not honor, but they have to do it, and they have to do it in 6 hours. Like when they installed the bowling alley for Nixon, they did that in 6 hours. Yeah. That's the kind of stuff. They went over some of the things, like Reagan wanted a pool, which is really impractical in D.C., but he's a California guy, and they said no. Could you imagine the White House having a pool? Wouldn't that be something?
Well, they had one. Kennedy had one in the floor of the press briefing room inside. It was an indoor pool. It's still there.
Which is the one that Biden swam in naked?
That was at the vice president's residence.
He has a pool indoors?
There's an indoor pool at the vice president's residence. He used to swim naked in front of the female Secret Service agents.
So Reagan wanted an outdoor pool, which I think would be kind of nice, but Washington, D.C. is very cold.
Now, listen, we're about out of time.
Okay.
So I want to talk about Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing and Contracting, who will never sell you a roof you do not need. If you're in the state of Florida, Tom Laporta can help you, okay? If you need a simple repair, he'll do it. He can also do roof replacements, obviously. But he won't sell you a roof you do not need. He's a good MAGA guy. He'll take very good care of you. And if you would like to have the same roof tiles, he does every type of roofing material, by the way. Every type of roofing material there is, he does it. But if you'd like to have the same roof tiles that are on Mar-a-Lago, he has those. Those are special tiles. They're multiple color tiles. There's several different colors. So not only does he have the tiles, he has the artisans that know how to properly place the tiles on the roof, so you get the Mar-a-Lago look. So if you want to sleep under the same roof that President Trump and Melania and Barron sleep under at Mar-a-Lago, just tell Tom Laporta you want the Trump roof, and he'll talk to you about it. But he works on every type of structure and works with every type of roofing material there is. Give him a call. This number rings directly to Tom Laporta's cell phone. You can call or text 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. And online, LaportaRoofing.com. All right, I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We will talk to you next time.